Hey y'all, it's getting warmer in Arizona and my allergies are really bad. And unfortunately, if I itch my eye even one time, my eyes swell. I had a really bad allergy attack yesterday and my eyes are still swollen, but I promise I am fine. Yesterday was brutal. Like my eyes were, it hurts so bad, but today they're just still swollen. But anyways, I'm back and I have more of your paranormal stories that I'm so excited but so nervous to read. And if any of you have paranormal stories that you want me or the community to read, I will have my subreddit link down below. This first story, I'm just like, we're getting right into it. My dream demon slash poltergeist, I don't know, but I got yeeted across a room. Hi Courtney, my name is Gray. I'm 16 and a lot of shit has happened since things first started happening when I was 11. To start this off, back in 2015, my aunt, my best friend at the time, and I decided to take a trip up to Chicago for the weekend. We spent the whole day shopping. My friend had bought a ouija board at one of the shops, and after we finished shopping, we headed back to our hotel. Looking back on it, I wish we would have just gone home. We stayed at the Crown Plaza Hotel. I didn't know this at the time, but it's notorious for its black market. Being the little shits we were, we decided to play the Ouija board while my aunt was showering. We sat on the floor with our hands pressed on the planchette for like 10 minutes and nothing happened, so we decided it would be best to put the game away and order pizza. Being stupid little 11-year-olds who knew nothing about the rules of the Ouija board, we put the game up without saying goodbye. After pizza, I went to bed totally forgetting about the Ouija board until about 3 a.m. I know, cliche. I ended up waking up and I couldn't move. Now, little 11-year-old me had no idea what the fuck was happening. All I knew was it's dark, I can't move, and there's a burned human at the end of my bed. Yeah, it looked like a malnourished and badly burned human. I shit you not, it started crawling up the bed slowly and I could feel it crawling up on me. When it got to my chest, it was gone and I bolted up screaming. My friends stopped talking to me after that trip and I've had night terrors ever since. And I'll talk about those later. Next is summer 2017. I went on another trip with my aunt and my sister Lydia. We were stayed in a casino this time. I can't remember much about the place except it reeked of cigarettes no matter where you were. So on this specific night, it was our last night in Minnesota. My aunt had stayed up late to make sure we had everything packed so we could leave early. She had the TV on just for background noise, and according to her, I sat up in my sleep and let out a scream and the TV flipped itself off. Then I apparently mumbled in French. English is my second language. She told me about what happened the next morning as we were leaving. August 2018, I was skipping school because I had a cold and felt like shit. I was sitting at the kitchen table and my chair got thrown across the room. Keep in mind, I am a 14-year-old boy at this point and I weighed 140 to 150, so it's kind of hard to yeet me across the room. Later that same day, I had an argument with my mom about something. I was about to walk into my room and I heard a bunch of crashing. My window had shattered and there was blood all over my room. Also keep in mind, my room is in the backyard, which is fenced in. The police were also called. They took DNA samples of the blood, but they came back inconclusive. And now they're like, okay, let's talk about the dreams, as if like we just brushed past all of that so fast that I'm still stuck on all of that. I've had very vivid dreams for as long as I can remember, but the night terrors just started a few years ago. Number 1, the date, time, location in the dream is always different, but always ends up being me burned alive by people in demon masks. And then in parentheses, it says, not a dream. I'm in a group where we go out and clean up areas like once a month. So on this specific day, we were cleaning in a wooded area not too far off of a road. Like we could see the road from where we were cleaning. And one of the other guys in my group goes, hey guys, look at this, and pulls a devil mask identical to the ones from my dream out of a clump of mud and grass or some shit. Like what the, no, that's the scariest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, because it's like, am I dreaming or is it real? And then this says number 1 again, but I'm gonna guess this is number 2. I'm running through the woods being chased by some dark entity. I trip over a tree root, break my ankle, then the entity devours me and I wake up. 3, I'm exploring an abandoned school with my friends, Katie and Emmeline, and we end up splitting up for some reason and they're gone for a while. I go looking for them and find them in a different room, both of them dead. So that was not fun. 4, I'm driving down a country road. On either side, there were cornfields. A young man in the passenger seat. He was blonde with blue eyes, had a faint scar that started between his eyes and curved over his left eyebrow. I drove until we came to a cabin in the clearing in the field. We both got out of the car and went into the house. In the dream, it was suddenly night and I was standing in a kitchen looking at the young man. He was standing in the empty living room staring at the door. Stood there for what in the dream seemed like hours. The man then ran out the door into the cornfield and I followed. I couldn't see him, then I found my way to the center of the field. There was a tall, cloaked figure standing there. The figure leaned down and kissed my left cheek. Then I woke up. There was a mark on my cheek where the figure had kissed me in the dream, and it burned like hell. I'll try and find a picture, but I don't remember if I took one. I told my friend about this when it happened, and I shit you not, he goes, "Bro, I think you met death." I like don't even know what to say because I don't want to make you feel like you're like going insane, but I would feel like I was going insane. I don't think you're insane by any means, obviously, but I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck is reality. Oh my God. Okay, number 5. I was at a Christmas party with my family and I'm in the midst of playing hide and seek. I found an old board game in my grandpa's room. My grandpa then found me and begged me not to open it, and then he died in the dream. I didn't get the chance to open it, but we were bored at the Christmas party again. So I was looking in the hall closet, again for a game for us to play. I found the same game, but the box was different. It was light pink and had peppermints on the cover with a little gingerbread man mid-run with the words, "Run, run, man," written on it with red Twizzlers. Lydia, my sister, immediately took interest and tried to grab the game from me. I pushed her away and started to read the back. I don't remember exactly what it said, but on the back there were warnings about the game that were also reviews from people who had played the game. There were the pictures and ages of the players, a 4-year-old, an 8-year-old, 16-year-old, 2 20-year-olds, and all of them said, "Do not play this game." I held onto the box so nobody could open it. Then I went to a different closet to look for a different game. There I found another box with similar packaging, but it was a doll box, so it had clear plastic on it. I can't remember what the doll looked like. My family then sat around the tree so the younger kids could open gifts. My brother got his first. He opened it, and it was the game. My sister opened hers, and it was the doll. I wasn't holding them anymore, and then I woke up. I don't like that, that's trippy as hell. I told some of my witchy friends about this, and they think I have a dream demon attached to me, so if anybody has advice on that, please let me know. This is the end of the dreams that I can remember. Also, I said earlier that my sister had an experience too. This is not Lydia, but the sister who shares a room with her. She was laying facing her wall one night when she suddenly felt weight at the end of her bed. She thought it was Lydia, so she turned to tell her to get off of her bed. When she turned, however, there was nobody there, and Lydia was asleep in her bed on the other side of the room. And that's it. Sorry for the long post, I'll update if anything happens. Okay, and then there's an edit that says, I forgot to mention that in the Run Run Man dream, my grandpa's ghost kept reappearing only to say, "You have 10 hours to hide." I've also found small bruises on my arms and legs that I can't remember where I got them from. Not necessarily paranormal, just weird. Yeah, no, but that's insane. The paranormal experiences themselves are horrific, but then to have those dreams on top of that and like a supposed dream demon, I don't have advice for you, but if anybody else has advice, I don't know if I've ever heard of a dream demon before, and I hope I never experience it, and I hope you stopped experiencing it because that's so scary. Okay, this next story just says, Little Ghost Stories. Hi, I'm Mariana from Mexico. I have a ton of scary stories to share, so I'll tell some of the most creepy ones. Also, sorry for my English, it's not perfect, you're fine. Number 1. One day, when my little brother came home from school, he said he just saw a girl inside of my mom's car. At first I thought it was me, but no. Then, weeks later, my dad enters my room, and he woke me up saying he saw a girl walking into my room, and he also thought it was me. But again, no. Both say that the girl had long hair, but I had short hair at the time, so they were like, oh, wait, she doesn't have long hair. My dad didn't know what my brother had seen, so it was a little creepy. My dad and I haven't told my brother that my dad had seen the same girl. We don't want to scare him. It's like a ghost doppelganger, and I feel like we've read multiple stories like that recently. I don't like it, but okay, number 2. I don't remember when it happened, but one day I was in my living room playing games on my laptop. It was like 3 a.m. when I heard a scream outside my house. But it was like a witch scream. That's what we call it here. I don't really know how to describe it, but it was horrible. I went running to my room and tried to sleep. In the morning, my dad said he heard a bloody scream in the night. I told him I had heard it too. We never knew who or what it was. 3. One night I was sleeping, and out of nowhere I woke up. I saw a white figure going inside the house from my backyard, it's near my room, and standing in my door frame, like it was trying to get into my room. Instead of eyes, he had black sockets/holes, and he was tall, like 2 meters tall. I'm not sure how tall that is, but it sounds tall. He stood there for like 5 minutes and then turned around and went into my mom's room. I was so afraid, but I got up and went to my mom's room to see if that thing was there, but it wasn't. I just went to sleep pretending nothing had happened. My dad said that he saw that thing a couple of times too. It's like weirdly relieving that your dad has also encountered like all of these things. 4, another time my dad was walking towards his room when something pulled him by his necklace towards the floor, but he didn't fall. He like bended forward. We both saw how his necklace was being pulled by something invisible. It didn't last long, but we don't know what it was. 5, I was in one of my friend's houses because I was going to sleep there. It was like midnight when I felt something stroking my hair. At first, I thought it was my friend, so I opened my eyes to see, but it wasn't my friend. It was a shadow of a man. I pretended to be asleep, and in a couple of minutes, the shadow just walked away. I told my friend in the morning, and she said that the shadow usually does that to her sister. From that day, I never went to her house in the night. I would never go there ever again. 6, there was a time when every fucking night I had a dream with demons. It was a different one every night, and they whispered in my ear. I felt their hot breath in my ear and I could smell their rotten bodies, but I couldn't move at all. At the same time, something was stalking my dad in the night. He felt how something sat at the end of his bed and just stared at him. And of course, every morning we found dirt on the floor. It was soil. I don't know the right word, of a graveyard. No, you're so fine. It's usually used when you want to curse someone or when you want them dead. We did a cleansing and things stopped for good. Thank God. These are the ones I remember the most. It happened mostly to my dad and me because we're more sensitive to spirits and the like. My brother only had his encounters a couple times and my mom never saw anything. My dad moved out of the house because they got divorced and my brother and I went with him. I was sick at the time and my mom couldn't take care of me, so that's why we moved in with my dad. Ever since, nothing paranormal has happened to us. We believe the house was the problem. Not sure why. Thank you for reading. That's crazy. Like, I'm so glad nothing has happened again. And I'm gonna repeat myself, but it's weirdly comforting that you weren't the only one experiencing this, because I do feel like I read a lot of stories where the parents just don't even, like, they're not experiencing any of it, so they don't believe you. And I feel like that's the worst part, because I'd already feel like I'm going a little crazy. And then for like my parents to not even believe me, like I've had paranormal stuff happen to me and my mom like laugh. Not in like a mean way, obviously, but like she doesn't experience it, so she doesn't know. And it's like she thinks I'm being like dramatic and I'm not. Like I ran into her room crying one night because of something that had happened and she was like, whatever, just sleep on the floor. Okay, this says my childhood paranormal experiences. Hi, my name is Bailey. I'm from Pennsylvania, and throughout my life, I've had, from what I believe to be, many paranormal experiences. Before I tell you about when it all started, I'll give you some background info. The house the majority of these stories happened in is pretty old, but we didn't know the specific age of the house. But probably around 30 years ago, the lady who owned the house at the time had ended up dying in my mom's current room. And the lady's son, his name was Bill, had someone over one day and was in our driveway fixing his car, and Bill decided to shoot the guy fixing his car. I'm pretty sure the Bill guy ended up passing away soon after that, but I'm not 100% sure. Also, before my mom bought the house, when she was looking at the inside, there were a few blood stains on the wall, but we bought the house anyways. But now on to my experiences. My first memory of anything paranormal happening was around the age of 3. More specifically, on my 3rd birthday. Now I'm about to turn 13. That's insane, first of all. You guys are babies. But also this story was posted like 5 years ago. I'm on my old subreddit again because I didn't have enough stories on the new one, so these are really old. All I remember was seeing a shadow. The shadow was large, tall, and slender. From what I can remember, the shadow had a very light gray color, so I just blinked my eyes and didn't really think anything about it because I was only 3, so what was I supposed to do? As a few years passed, I would continue to see the same thing. But the odd thing about it is that every year on my birthday, the shadow would get closer and closer to my bed. It would also get darker and darker each year. I would regularly see the shadow, what seemed to be the same one each time, around 7-ish to when I went to bed. I would see it there, just staring at me. It wasn't until the age of 8 I finally built up the courage to tell my mom about the things I'd been seeing for almost 5 years at this point. Me thinking she was going to put it off as I was crazy for telling her the things I had seen, she didn't. Surprised at this point that she believed me, she even told me that she had seen things in our old house too. We had moved out of our house for around a year and rented it out to 2 family members. My mom ended up telling me that the family members who were renting our house too ended up having pictures flying off their walls and would hear voices throughout the day, but usually at night. I also didn't think anything of it really that the shadows and voices started when I was living at the house, but then followed me to where I was temporarily staying. Soon after telling my mom about the things I had seen, we moved into an apartment. After we moved, I had once again started seeing things and hearing voices. And every night before I went to bed, I would look up at the corner of our loft and I would always see an odd, deformed face, but I never said anything to my mom about it. After living in that apartment for 4 months, we moved back into our old house. I'd forgotten about the shadows for about 2 months after we moved in, until one night. That one specific night, I had walked out of the bathroom and into my sister's bedroom to see the shadow sitting on my sister's bed while she was asleep. We shared a room, and it was slowly easing its way over to her. I started to panic, so I said, "You can't have her. Get the fuck out." The next night before bed, I watched a YouTube video and it had mentioned imaginary friends. This then sparked the memory of my imaginary friend. Her name was Bertha. She was a little African-American girl who had long fingertip-length hair. She always wore a blue and white dress. Then around 4 in the morning, I got sleep paralysis and I saw my old imaginary friend, and every night I would see her crawl out from under my bed and tell me, "It's okay, there's nothing to be afraid of, just let me in." Then she would crawl onto my bed and sit on my chest. Then, one night, instead of seeing her crawl onto my bed, I saw the shadow that I had seen since I was 3 walk over and drag her out of my window and kill her. Halfway through seeing my imaginary friend get killed, the shadow developed a face. I continued to see this face looking at me through windows. One night I even saw the shadow/man standing in the driveway right where the guy had gotten killed. After seeing the man so much, I finally said, "You can't have me or my family and you're not welcome here, so leave me the hell alone." I'm like, oh my god, that's holy shit. Right now I can't remember all of my paranormal experiences, but here's my last one. So one day about 7 years ago, I was sitting down on my couch with my mom watching a horror movie when something scratched my neck and I started screaming and crying. It was the worst pain I had ever felt in my life. And when my mom looked, there were 3 deep scratch marks on my neck, gushing blood. Mind you, I have 2 cats, but my cats were down in our basement playing when this happened. I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. I thought the first one was bad. This is awful. Now, here are a few things that have happened to people who have stayed in my house. One night when my mom's cousin, my second cousin, stayed in mine and my sister's room, he woke up at one point in the middle of the night and heard scratching on the window. Along with this, he heard an old lady's voice whispering, "Bill, Bill." The only reason we found this extremely odd was because the lady who had died in the house, her son was named Bill, and my cousin is also named Bill. Another thing that's been happening more recently is that every time I see a shadow before bed, my mom and I will wake up with bruises that disappear by noon each day. And lastly, my cats will always bolt to a specific corner in my mom's room where the old lady died, and they will sit there for hours, meowing and scratching at the wall and running in circles in her room. Also, when I told my dad about what happened to me, no, my parents are divorced. At this time I was probably 7. Not even 5 minutes later, he told me I was crazy. I was lying, and that if I didn't stop, he would send me to a therapist. And lastly, to add on to that, my first grade teacher found my notebook with drawings of the shadows I would see and sent me to the guidance counselor, who said I didn't know what I was talking about and I was probably just crazy. That's off. I'm so sorry. Thank you to whoever's reading this. I hope you liked it. And yes, these are my real experiences, and to this day, I still live in that house. No, that's what I'm saying. That literally, like, back to what I was saying, it's awful because when you're like experiencing something that's so scary and nobody else is experiencing it and they're just brushing you off as crazy or lying or making it up or whatever, it just like makes things so much harder because you're like, I don't know, you already feel kind of crazy. So like, stop making me feel even crazier. Oh, I'm so sorry. But again, I'm like glad that your mom believes you, and I'm glad that she's experienced it and heard other people's experiences so she can be like, oh my God, there is something going on. Okay, and then this last one is so short, but I have to read this. I was gonna make a short about it, but I was like, I'm just gonna throw it in this video because I just found it and I'm like, what the fuck? The bitch broke the door. And yes, it's about a ghost. So, I live alone in a 1-bedroom apartment, and every night before bed, I lock my door because I'm paranoid. I feel like that's not paranoia, I feel like that's pretty normal, but one day I woke up to my door being wide open. No, it wasn't open like it was pulled from the inside or pulled open from the outside. The door was off the hinges, laying on the floor. Let's just say I'm living with my boyfriend now. I'm not sure if someone had broken in. The front door was still locked and nothing was taken. No broken windows, no signs of entry, just the broken door. Let's just say if that ghost wants to say she's paying for the door. The door being fully off the hinges and on the ground is, I cannot imagine waking up to that, oh my God. Okay, well that's all I have for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if you guys have any stories you want to share with me or the community, I will have my subreddit linked down below. I'm gonna be sitting on those stories for a while. I don't really know how to process any of that. Those were bad. Those were really bad. But I'm gonna go. I love you guys so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye.